Hello again, Trish Triumpho Sullivan here, and I'm going to show you how to remove the staples from your piece. So I've already got some of them up. I have a special puller that I use. It's a tack puller, so you can see here, I hold it up, it's kind of bent on the end, and it looks like a screwdriver, except that it's really meant for pulling up carpet tacks. It's like a little mini crowbar, okay? You can also use a screwdriver, a flat screwdriver. Works fine. Staple removers sometimes are difficult because they can scrape up your paper. Now I recommend that you face away from your paper and away from your body. Whoop. Wow, so be careful if they fly around like that because you can lose them and they would really hurt on your bare feet. They get in the carpet or something and you can't see it. Staples can certainly be uncomfortable. I am also using some pliers, right, to pull it out if it gets stuck. I face away from my body and away from my paper when I'm doing this so that I don't accidentally stab myself, right? So if I'm going like this and I'm trying to get it out and it slips right in my belly, right? That would not be good. So make sure you face away from your body as you're doing this. Don't do it towards your torso, okay? Or even your hand. You can slip and actually, like puncture your hand like that. So you want to be really careful with these kind of things. As you can see, sometimes they don't come all the way out. So I'm using my pliers to pull them out the rest of the way. And I'm just gonna try to get the rest of these out really quickly. So we got just a few more to go here. And you can see, I usually say face away from your paper because if you slip, you could actually gouge up your paper. I'm just gonna do this way today, just to be quick about it so that I'm not taking a million years pulling tacks from paper, right? But this was our demo that we did, and we have a lot of different techniques such as layering, dry wash, wet wash, different masking techniques using crayon, tape, and rubber cement, right? And there we go. So we got the paper off. Now let's talk just a moment. And we also did, texturing with sponge, dry brush, and splatter. We did some salt texture. We did a variegated wash. We did a graded wash. And we did some blotting and rubbing to make some pretty cool clouds, right? And we also did sumi-e. So we did a lot of different techniques. Brush rolling, right? That was really cool. We did some flipping techniques with a brush to get a particular effect. And it's a way to make leaves, right? I showed you those techniques. So let's talk about mapping up. I'm going to use this paper even though there's some marks on it because I don't think it's going to affect my composition that much. But this is my composition that I'm going to use for my still life. So we talked a little bit about this, about getting your composition ready, and I showed you when I laid out the still life that I wanted you to use a format that fits the composition. So my composition was kind of skinny and tall, and so I'm going to put my my really light crosshairs in. Remember, these don't have to be completely perfect, you guys. You don't have to get rulers and do all kinds of machinations. But you want to do your crosshairs to kind of guide you with your composition because you used your picture plane and then you drew using your crosshairs, and then you're going to use this to map out your composition. So I'm using a pencil, and you can see I'm doing really light lines. I'm not making dark lines that I can't get rid of. Because all I'm doing is this is just helping me to map out my composition. So remember, I have a bottle that was kind of tall, and so I know it's here, and I'm just really lightly, I'm just kind of mapping out the basic shapes that I had, and then I had a a plant, and whoops, let me go get it in the right spot. And be careful about using too many marks, because the more you erase, the more it like messes up your paper. So I'm just kind of mapping out some basic shapes. And then I had a camera, and the camera's down here. There was a plant. Plant goes up like this. So I'm just doing a couple kind of dotted lines, really light stuff. And then I had the camera, which is kind of this big shape here, right? So now my design is plotted out. You can see I didn't redraw the whole thing because my drawing is going to be with my brushes, right? I'm going to be painting this. I'm not drawing this. So you don't draw your whole thing out with complete detail, because the detail is going to come from your paint. So this is your basic start when you're composing. You decide which format to use, right? Do you use a horizontal format, or do you use a vertical format? And that is indicated by how your composition looks, right? Is it tall and skinny? Is it long and wide? And that's how you're going to decide what will work best for you, okay? I want you to remember, if you have a piece of staple that somehow breaks off and it's sharp, you can actually hurt yourself and cut yourself if you don't take care of that. So I recommend you have a little hammer, and if you have something sharp, you pound it in, okay, like that, so that you don't hurt yourself. And then, make sure you throw your staples away. Do not leave them laying around where like little brothers or sisters or animals could get to them and hurt themselves, because these are sharp, right? So take your time and be careful with them. Make sure you throw them away properly when you're done. But your mapping is pretty simple. You have a crosshairs, really lightly written with a pencil, right? And then you have your basic shapes. The detail is going to come with your paint and your brushes, right? Not with the pencil. So you're not putting in a bunch of little tiny detail. That happens on your drawing. Your drawing is your guide, but it is not what you're going to do here, because you're not drawing this, you're painting it. All right, so that's the first part, and then we'll go on to the next part in part 2 of this lecture.